Hi everyone! After a long time I return back with some tutorial. In this case I switched to Blender because I switched it from Cinema 4D to Blender for my work, and I think Blender is very good and very flexible for the kind of work that I usually do. So let's jump in this first tutorial, and I want to show you how to quickly create a studio setup for your product render in Eevee, so in a real-time environment. First of all, we can delete all these things and start with create a plane. That will be our backdrop. I usually scale it for in a proper size. Go to edit mode with pressing tab key. Select this edge, and by pressing E you can extrude the vertex on the Z axis, something like this. Now I reselect this edge and right click bevel edge to create our limbo. I increase the number of subdivision of the bevel to create a smooth transition from the two parts, and now return to object mode and right click shade smooth to create a smooth shading on top of it. After doing this, to create a solid limbo, I go to the modifier tab here, select the solidify modifier and set it and leave it at the standard size of 0.1 could be good for us, but remember to reset the scale for a proper results. After doing this, I go to object data mode, and in normals I turn on auto smooth to create a good shading on this geometry. Now I take the monkey, Suzanne, that in this case will be our subject of the render, but you can take another mesh or whatever you want, your product, your chair, everything you want to render in this scene. So I rotate it and put it on the floor in the proper way, something like this works fine, and apply a subdivision surface modifier to it with 2 subdivisions, shade smooth, and set it properly again. Something like this. Nice. After this, I create a camera. Okay, and with Control Alt Numpad 0, I can position the camera in in my view in my current view of my workspace. Now I wanna go to my transform tab of the camera and set properly all the rotation settings and center on frame my object. I wanna more photographic results, so I put my object in a third of my camera frame, and to see better it, I go to camera, and in the camera tab I go to activate my composition grid. Where is it? Okay, composition guides, and activate the thirds. As you can see, I put it on the lower left thirds of my image. Now I can set properly my focal length to 70. For me it works fine. And go with GZZ, reframe properly my object. Something like this could be work great for me. Okay, I created the base setup of my environment, so it's time to switch to Eevee. So I'm going to select the viewport shading in rendered mode here, and as you can see very bad results for now, because only the only lights comes through the very dark gray in my background of the world. I leave it at this standard value for now, and I insert in my scene an area light. I move it upwards a bit, go to the right size and move it by something like this, go to the up side and rotate about 45 degrees in this direction, and move it in a place like this one. I set it up the power to about 70 watts. Maybe we can try to move it a little bit closer to my subject. And in the shadow menu of these lamps, I will activate the contact shadows. This creates a very good contact shadow from my object to the ground planes. As you can see, increase also the shadows on the subjects and create a very nice results. Go back to the light, and I wanna increase the size of my lights to about 2 meters. After doing this, I simply with my lamp selected create a copy of it by pressing Shift D. As you can see, now I move it on the other side of my model and rotate it in the opposite direction. Put it in the same spot. Maybe we can try to rotate a little bit more, something like this. And I want to decrease a little bit the power of this secondary light to about 50 watts for now. Now I'm going to my camera mode, and as you can see, the model looks better now, but the rest of the studio is not properly lit. So I want to create another area light, and I make it rectangular and increase the shape of it on the X size to 7 meter and on the Y size to 2 meters. Now I'm gonna to take it upwards and increase the power of these lamps to about 100 watts, maybe 200. You may consider that the power of the lamp is divided on the whole surface of the lamp. So when you have a big light, you must increase the power of it to achieve the same lighting on a smaller lamp. Okay, now I rotate it a bit on the direction of my studio, on my limbo, and see the results in my main camera view. As you can see, there are more greenish transition on here. So to avoid this, I can increase the power of my lamp, maybe to 500 watts. Yes. And also I think it's time to create a vertical split. So I have the render on my left side, and on my right side I can move freely in my scene. So I can try different setups to adjust the lighting that I want to achieve. I can also move a bit the limbo, something like this, on front of my camera to remove the ugly parts of shadow that are present under my object. After doing this, I usually create some nice material for my limbo. So with the limbo selected, I create a new material. Principal BSDF works very fine for it, and simply reduce the roughness, something like this, and increase the specularity. As you can see, we have now a reflective plane, but also reflected lights, as you can see here, but not a model. To avoid this problem, you go to the render properties and activate screen space reflection. And voila, as you can see, we now have the reflection of the model on the plane. I usually also add a Fresnel node to control better the reflection and avoid the reflection of the lamp on the top of the background. I think my plane is also too dark now, so I increase the value of the white one, and also increase the top lamp a bit to remove this bright spot here. Something like 900 watts could be work fine for me. Okay, as you can see, if I turn off the overlays, the scene is now more interesting than before, and now I can apply a simple material on top of the monkey face just for fun. And I really like to have something like a clay material with a little bit of subsurface scatter. Something like this, maybe a little more dark. I decrease the roughness and increase a bit the specular things. Here we go. We have set it up our basic limbo with some reflection on the plane, and create an interesting look for the Might Susan in Blender. Final adjustment, I usually go to have an accent light on the right of my model in this case, and to do this I'm going to switch this panel to 3D viewport to see my workspace, and add a spotlight. Go to top view, put it something like this, go up a bit, rotate 19 degrees in this direction, maybe 95 degrees works better, and on top of it I want to rotate it to face of my subject. If you cannot see anything, it's because we must increase this value to maybe 1000 watts to create this kind of accent on top of my model. Maybe we can try 2000, and I think it's very nice. I also reduce a bit the size of my spot to concentrate it on my monkey and not the interface with my limbo. And I can try to put it on the best place for me. Something like this could be great. And after doing this, I usually increase the renders samples to maybe 256 samples in render. Activate ambient occlusion to increase a bit some contact shadows, and turn off alpha-res trace in the screen space reflection, and also activate in performance high quality normals to create my final render. After doing this, I simply go to render image. And there we go. We have created a simple and quick render of Suzanne with a Limbo studio with a reflective plane on top of it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. In the next tutorial I will redo the same thing in cycles to have a more precise look, but with a bit of more render time. See you at the next lesson. Bye!